And just in case you didn't know, her hair is a glory unto her. Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. And if you're new here, welcome. Today, we're going to be jumping right into how to quickly dye your bundles. And I'm going to be using the bleach bath method to get this beautiful, subtle, I want to say copper red or a burnt auburn color. So we're using the copper brown, and I'm also using some bleach and some developer. And what you want to do is take your bundles. Always do this step. You need to rinse your bundles off because a lot of the bundles come with a coating on it that you have no clue about. All right, this is pro tips. Always rinse your bundles first to remove whatever coating may be on the bundles beforehand. And you can keep your hair ties on the bundle if that helps you while washing. But me, preferably, I like to remove them just so I can make sure that the entire bundle is being saturated. And we're going to do the same thing with our closure. And I like to use lukewarm water. You don't want it to be too cold or too hot. Just right in between is fine. So once you got all your bundles rinsed well, I'm just going to set those aside. And now we're going to go ahead and mix up that bleach powder developer. Okay. And what you want to do is you can measure out the contents just to make sure you have everything even. But I can pretty much eyeball. I'm just going to pour some of the powder in, and then I'm going to use some of the developer, and I'm going to pour that into a big bowl or a big container. And you just want to mix that in very well. And once you get the perfect consistency, you're going to go ahead and take the bundle and start dipping that into the bleach mixture. So this is just going to give us like a top coating, and then we'll go in and begin to slowly add in the water, which is going to make it become a bleach bath. Of course, you would want to ideally be wearing gloves, y'all, okay? Don't mind me. And y'all bear with me on this voiceover for this video. This is going to be a pretty long video, so just please have some grace on me. And so I did the same thing for each bundle using the color brush to help me really get that bleach on the hair. I just took my time and continued to smooth it out. So you see that I started to add in a little bit of water. I just used that faucet water and I added it in a little bit at a time. And then this is where you're going to go ahead and start creating that bath. But in the meantime, y'all, that bleach started tearing my fingers up, okay? So like I said, you do want to get you some gloves and protect yourself. It got to the point, look, I even tried to use like a sandwich bag, anything just to protect my hands from this bleach. It is a chemical and it will burn your skin. So just keep that in mind. And as you can see, I'm adding in a little more water, and I'm really starting to form that bath, okay? And I'm just letting the product and the bundles all kind of merge together and become one. And the water, all the product, get in between and open up that hair so you can make sure that the bleach is getting every strand. Because if not, you'll wind up with a very, very blotchy color. So you just want to get the hair saturated as evenly as possible. I'm just continue to take my time just to use that brush and really get the color throughout the hair. And now moving on to the closure, I'm just going to take and I'm going to really merge that into the same bleach bath. I just want to get that closure completely saturated with the bleach. So after letting that hair set for about 15 minutes, I started to see the desired lightness or the desired color that I was going for. So now I'm just going to rinse the bundles out. And you want to really take your time on this part and rinse the bundles very well. You want to remove all the bleach from the bundles and remove all the bleach from the closure as well, okay? Using that lukewarm water to really help just cleanse the hair of whatever product that was still on there. So once we got that rinsed well, I'm just going in with that Adore copper color, and I'm adding it to the bowl, and then I'm going to add water in it and begin to stir it just so I can help all the color distribute evenly. And for this part, it's ideal to use warm or hot water just to help the color deposit a lot better. So I don't want to add too much water to this because I want the color to still be vibrant. So I just added just the right amount of water, and then I added the bundle in at the thick or the base piece first. And this is because the color attracts to whatever comes first. So whatever piece of hair gets in there first, it's most likely going to attract the most of the color. So I try to add it in at the base just to make sure that that part is completely saturated. And then I go in and add the ends in, because normally the ends are very easily taken to color versus the thicker part of the bundle. Sometimes it gives a harder time to color. So those are some things that you can just keep in mind and try them out as you're doing it to see what works better. So here you can really see the color difference after I dipped it in that copper color, and I'm really starting to see some great results. So now I'm just going to move forward, and I'm going to continue to do the same thing with the other bundles. You'll notice that the color is depositing to the hair because as you see, the water starts to clear out from what it was when you first, added that color in, if that makes sense. So at first you'll see the bowl, it's darker. And as I continue to dip and let the hair soak in the color, the water in the bucket becomes lighter because now the color has transferred from the bucket onto the hair. And I really hope this makes sense, y'all. You'll know the lighter the water gets in color, the more the indication that it is finished. All right, so once I got those all color, I'm just going in with the basic condition and just kind of washing of the hair. You can use whatever shampoo or conditioner that you prefer. Just make sure that you give it a really, really good rinse. You want to remove any conditioner, any shampoo, everything out of the hair. And so, y'all, this is what it's looking like. Of course, as the hair dries, it gets lighter in color. So you'll see that in some areas it did take a little bit better than other areas, but it will all blend together once we get the hair dry and sewn in. So I just laid that out on a shirt. You can use a towel or whatever is convenient for you. I'm just going to wrap this up and I'm going to let it air dry overnight. All right, the night is over and the client is here to retrieve her service. So I'm going in with the middle part because she wants a middle part just with some curls. And what you're going to do is you're going to part the hair right where you would want that middle part to be. Yes, we're using a closure, so we're going to braid her hair completely down. And we're using the drop and pick method. So this is where you drop the end of the braid and then you add it into that next cornrow that you do. So you'll see once I get down towards the ear, I added in the piece of hair that was hanging out. I'll demonstrate it again. The piece of hair that's hanging out right here, about here, I just added that into the braid, and you continue to braid right on down. And I did this all the way around her head. You could try to keep your parts as straight and as even as possible just to get really neat and flat results. And that first braid right around the edges, you want to make sure that you braid that as close to the edges as possible. Okay, get it as close as possible so that when you sew down your closure, you'll have a lot of stamina to help catch the thread when you're trying to sew. If you braid it too far back, then you may not be able to catch the braid in certain areas. So now I'm just using some Gorilla Gel and I'm just combing back all of her baby hair, her natural hair. You can use whatever type of holding gel. I got the bee spray will work. Just something to help push back all those flyaways. So now I have the closure. I already cut my lace straight across. Okay, and I'm going to start creating that part. So I'm using my comb and I'm really creating that part and I'm laying it right on her part. I want the part on the closure to match her scalp part. And you keep that part there. You do it very even and keep the part there, because this is how you're going to be sewing down your closure. So now that I laid down the closure and got it positioned where I want to position, I'm just taking my thread and I'm going to begin sewing the closure down right at where I started that braid. I'm going to line up the closure right with that first braid, and I'm just going to start from where the part is, and I'm going to sew it down on each side. Okay, you don't want to sew all the way around the closure to the other side, because it may come out very uneven. So to keep things even, you just want to sew it down the front side, and then you go on the opposite side and you'll sew that down in the front. Then you can sew around the rest of the closure. All right, y'all, please, I hope this is making sense. And if not, you have any questions, please feel free to go ahead and ask those in the comment section. Whenever you're ready, I'll get back with you. So now that I sewed it down in the front on the opposite side, I just moved around to the other side, and I'm doing the same thing. I like to start it right up where, or right after that part. Okay, that part, I'm going to start sewing it super close, right along the edges of that first braid that we created. And this method that we're doing here is for my girlies that just want that bust down part. They're not pressed about any baby hair or that, slit back frontal looking look that, everybody's going for. So it's a more simply put sew in. So once I got those two sides braided down, you can see I'm going on here and working my way around the closure this time. And you want to move the hair out the way and, make it make sense. As you're sewing it, make sure that the closure is lining up as evenly as possible on the client's head. And once I got that all sewed in, I'm just going in now with some foam or some type of satin lotion. And we're just going to clean up on that part and really begin to mold the closure down, okay? So in order to get a nice flat and sleek looking closure, you want to really take your time when it comes to molding it, okay? This is going to really make or break that closure. So now we're going to go in and really define this part using some sharp tweezers. I'm just going to use the slide and pluck method. I just grab some of the hair and I kind of slide back at the angle while I pluck the hair. I hope this makes sense. So instead of going like straight up and plucking the hair straight up, I like to grab and slide back, okay? And as you can see, this is just really opening up the part and it's making it look a lot more natural, a lot more like our scalp. So you just continue to kind of pluck here and there until you get it to what you feel like is perfection. And please be very, very careful while plucking, because sometimes the tweezers are really, really sharp and you can easily poke a hole into the lace. And trust me, we do not want those type of problems. So really just take your time and continue to pluck at it until you get it to what you feel like is perfection. And once you've done that, we're just going to go ahead and move on to beginning to sew in the tracks. So I do like to double my tracks just to be able to add a lot more of the hair in, because you'll notice when you do it single wefted, you can't fit as much hair as when you double the wefts. So I have two wefts put together and I'm taking my needle and thread that I already set up and I'm just starting right at the ear on one of the sides. It doesn't matter which side you start on, but you really want to bring that track all the way to the front and start it right above the ear. So I know some people start behind the ear, but I found it a lot better looking when you start it right at the very front of the client's head. We're going to continue in a horseshoe shape, just back and forth and back and forth until I get really close up at the top. So when you start the first part of the track, you want to make sure you go over it and over it a few times with that thread. And this is just going to lock in the start of the track, okay? Just so it won't be loose or coming out. You want to go over it quite a few times just to lock it in. And also, I'm going to be using the flip over method, and that's what you just seen me do here, where you take the weft and you just flip it over and you continue to sew the track on versus cutting it as you get to each end. All right, please, I hope it's making sense, y'all. Please try to keep up. So again, you'll see me do it here. I'm just sewing a regular stitch. I don't do anything fancy, okay? I don't do any in between, any loop-de-loops. I just pull it in and I pull it through, make sure it's nice and snug. All right. So here I'm going to show you how I fold it over. I'm just taking that double track and I'm literally just going to do what I just said. I'm going to fold it over. And when I fold it over, I'm going to use my needle and thread to help me secure. So I folded it over. Typically one track is going to be on top of the other or right above the other. And I'm just sticking that needle right through the wefts, okay? Through the wefts, girl. I know some people like to take it under, but I like to find it more secure when I took it through the weft. So I'm just going to go over and over that fold until it gets nice and flat, okay? I don't want to pull it too tight so that it's bulking up, but I do want it tight enough that it is secure and not continuing to move. And as I ran out of the hair, I just went on here and grabbed and opened up that next bundle. And I'm just going to start right where I left off. And I'm going to continue it right around and around her head, just like a horseshoe shape, all the way until I get to the top. Oh, and while I got you here, let me just go ahead and encourage everybody that may be trying this as a new style or trying to, do something different and color your hair. Whatever it is that you're trying and you came to this video to get some type of information or inspiration, I just want to say practice makes improvement. It doesn't happen overnight. Some things you have to continue to work at over and over and over again before you actually get it. Okay, so don't beat yourself up if it's not coming out just how you expected it. I just want you to keep trying, keep pressing forward, and you're going to get better, okay? It's going to get better. Don't worry. All right, so I just continue to take those tracks back and forth, just like a horseshoe shape, and I studied and made sure that everything was nice and even, and we just continued to move forward until we got to the top where the closure was completely closed off. And as you get to the last 3 rows, you can start to use the single wefts. So then instead of doing double, all right, now back up to this closure part. I do like to use a little bit of the lace glue. So I just took some of that bowl hole lace glue and I just dipped the tip of my comb in it And you want to continue to use that comb just to help push down, and also use your fingers to help really blend that lace right into whatever little piece of scalp that's available, for that bust down part. So now I'm just going to continue on to molding and curling the hair. So of course you need a good working hot comb just so you could really flatten out the top of the hair. So those closures come in a little funky shape. A lot of the times once you put it on your head, it can look like a helmet. I mean, sometimes they just don't lay flat. So you're just going to really take your hot comb and take your time and hot comb the very top. And now that we have the closure looking pretty flat, y'all, it's looking really nice. It's coming together. I'm just going to go ahead and take my scissors, and I'm going to do what I like to call like a slither cut. I'm just kind of taking and creating some really soft layers. You just take your scissors and you cut in kind of a sliding motion. Anyhow, I just used some slick stick, and I like to rub that in my hands and a little bit of the cheat oil. And I'm just going to provide that all over the hair, making sure I saturate all of the hair, so that way when I begin to curl, I'm not overheating or damaging the hair, because it has that chi protectant, and it also has some of the wax sticks to help, create that barrier. So for the curls, you first want to make sure that your hair is properly detangled. And some things are just for to watch. So if you watch, you'll kind of get a glimpse of what I'm doing. I just like to turn the flat iron, and I continue to open and close it, just to let the rest of the hair slip through. Okay. So typically for the Hollywood style curls and looks, you want to keep the actual curl away from the face. So when you curl it, curl with your hair going out away from your face. Never curl and the curl will be coming in towards your face. Okay? That's another pro tip, y'all. I hope y'all writing this down. You want to break those down into pretty decent sections. You don't want to curl anything that's too big. To get a nice curl, you want to use smaller sections. And as you release the curl from the flat iron, I like to use the client's shoulder. If you have clips or something like that, you just want to use something to help hold the curls up in place, just so that they can set and be a long lasting curl, if that makes sense. And we're going to do the same thing on each side. I'm just grabbing up that hair and I'm turning my flat iron away from her face, okay? On each side, you want to go away from the client's face or away from your own face. And I'm just curling and twirling that flat iron around till I get my desired curl. And we're just going to curl the whole entire head this way. Already, once the curls are all in, I'm going to take my Got to Be spray, which is just like a holding spray, and I'm just going to spray it all over the curls. So this is what's going to really help set the curls. And even as I work through it with the comb and with my fingers, it's going to still allow the curl to keep its integrity. So definitely I recommend using some of that heat protecting or some of that Got to Be spray, just to give you that nice clean result that you're looking for. And so I'm using my comb and my fingers as a guide. I'm just fluffing out and pulling through the curls. This is what's going to really give it that Hollywood vibe, the Hollywood looks. You want to really pull through and kind of tease at the hair until you get it to your likings. Now, if they request and they don't want the Hollywood look, they want the more Shirley Temple look, by all means, give them what they asked for. But if they're saying, oh, I know, I trust you, you got it, you definitely want to repeat these steps, and I'm telling you, you're going to have the clients, they're going to be coming back, okay? They're going to want this back. Yeah, I'm adding a little more of that spray just to get any flyaways and also to set the curls in the style that I just molded it in. So once I get that mold that I like, I'm just going to spray more setting spray to keep the mold in place. All right. Remember to take your time and go over it and over it again until you get it to your likings or till you get professional. And never be afraid to go back in and touch up, recurl anything that needs to be recurled. As you can see, it was something about this curl that wasn't given in the front. So I just took my flat irons and I'm going in and I'm just going to recurl it. Okay, do the curl over until you get it to your likings. Comb through it and continue to play with it and play with it. And you're going to get these results, okay? These are my go-to curls. Anytime a client really tells me to do my thing or ask for curls, this is my go-to. I'm going for that Hollywood look, okay? So I really hope you all were able to get some type of information or some type of inspiration from these videos. I hope that you was able to subscribe and become a part of the family just so you won't miss the next video or what's coming next. Keep up with us. So I just took some of that edge booster and I'm using it to go in and tame her edges. Again, she didn't want any baby hair, so as you can see, it's just that straight down middle part. And y'all, I ain't even gotta say too much. Once again, I let my work speak, and look how gorgeous this turned out. Like overall, she really loved it, and I hope you all enjoyed as well. Bless you for watching.